I just released possibly the best game I've ever made. Well, by certain metrics of course, but still. Guys, gather around, have a seat, because today I will tell the incredible story of how I made this amazing game. Our story starts a few weeks back, right? Media Molecule announced the end of life support for Dreams. Dreams of course being the engine I like to work in. With this news also came the news that there were gonna be no more game jams, which Media Molecule has been holding consistently for the last few years. Now of course it was really important that the last game jam was gonna have a theme that wasn't going to backfire, right? Feel good. That's the theme of the game jam. Feel good. Now I don't know if Media Molecule is like the most naive company on the planet, but asking gamers to make something with the theme feel good just after delivering the worst news to them might not be the best idea. Well, I had a ton of great ideas for games of course because of this. I mean, like imagine a game where you just punch the Media Molecule logo with really nice hit feedback, or a game where you play as Sony and you need to shut down Dreams to make the investors feel good. Of course I'm not actually too upset with Media Molecule and Sony, but you know, with this kind of theme, you're just asking for trouble and I was happy to oblige. It is hard though, making something like that to, well, not start a flame war accidentally because people take it too seriously. So I made the very smart decision to not participate in the game jam. Well, that is until 5 days before the deadline when I suddenly woke up in a cold sweat with one thought piercing the core of my mind. What if I make a Mirror's Edge style parkour game with my Mirror's Edge parkour character? But I replaced the character with one of Media Molecule, Connie to be exact, which is a literal cone. When I tell you, when I have an idea that stupid, I just have to make it. I mean, I have no other choice, right? And so I started, 5 days before the deadline, 5 days to save my honor and make something for the last game jam Dreams was ever gonna see. To really see if this was gonna be possible, I just needed to do one thing. Make this character. If I could do that, then I was gonna finish the game no matter what. There are multiple ways to replace a character model in Dreams. I chose the elegant route and simply ripped limbs off of Connie and jammed them into the limbs of the parkour character. In development mode it looks incredibly cursed, but I had faith. An hour went by and I did a test. The result speaks for itself. So it's on then. But a game is much more than gameplay, so next came a really important part, the scope. Scope is the most important part because a too ambitious game I obviously wouldn't be able to finish in time. But I'm always ambitious up to the absolute edge of what can be achieved in the time frame I do have. Here's what I decided the game would be. The idea was to make this a game kind of celebrating Dreams. You play as a depressed Connie getting a call to save Dreams. The idea is to free Dreams and claim the power of imagination your own. Like how we as the community will now carry the torch. I really want to do more story-driven games in the future, so I decided I'd make this a testbed. The game would start with a cutscene of Connie being at home and getting a call to save Dreams. Then you get a single level of the Mirror's Edge style parkour. For art style, I wanted to take as many Media Molecule assets as possible and give it that painterly dreamy feel. Then in the second level, I wanted to make a final boss of some kind. And at the end, the final cutscene where Connie walks off into the sunset. Much to be done, much to be done. As fast as Dreams is, you cannot beat pen and paper when it comes to level design, so I sketched a quick idea and got to work making that first level. I started with a blockout, just a bunch of rectangles, and slowly created the path you'd take. Turns out I kind of shot myself in the foot making game like this, because I was gonna need a ton of assets to fully art out this path, but the player will run through it all in seconds. So as I started day 2, I remember staring anxiously at this empty blocky scene, a space full of possibilities that would require some real fighting to mold into a pleasing looking environment. If there was any moment where I really doubted if I could make this game in time, this was certainly it. I'm familiar enough with environment art to know that if I were to make everything myself here, this one level could take 2 weeks easily. But that's the nice thing about Dreams, isn't it? I don't have to make it myself. So oh well, no turning back, right? At first I worked for my sketch, but as time went on I just improvised more and more. I tried to not care too much about how everything looked and just threw down as many assets as I could. If there's any feeling I'm trying to provoke, it's kind of one of a dreamscape shipyard with a lot of containers and steel and concrete. I'm no artist, but I tried my best to throw in some flourishes that Media Molecule would do, paint strokes on the assets and in the environment and some dramatic lighting. It became clear quickly again that yeah, lighting is really important when it comes to art. I can make the scene look like absolute dream doo-doo with the wrong lighting. My goal was to make everything really colorful but still somewhat cohesive. Surprisingly hard as it turns out, because I did have some light color combinations at first that felt overwhelming and noisy. As time went on I decreased variety, and by the time I finished, the beginning of the level was mostly pink and yellow. My idea for the middle part of the level was initially that you'd climb up to a construction site and make your way through it, but I scrapped all of that to save time. Instead I created this bit of level, don't know what to call it, but I got a bit inspired by the overhang of a gas station. The lighting in this part I changed to a satisfying blue-purple combo. As I wrapped up that bit of level, I got another idea. One of the more iconic Dreams levels is Dreamiverse Dash, basically a time trial level create kit made by Media Molecule. The character you play as in Dreamiverse Dash is actually Connie. Now wouldn't it be hilarious to turn Dreamiverse Dash into grounded Mirror's Edge style parkour? My idea was to make a long stretch of level beyond that gas station bit where you just run in a straight line. Then in front of you a giant tower would rise from the depths. This tower would be the end of the level, but in front of it, a bridge made of just Dreamiverse Dash assets would rise up as well. So I got to work. I suck at level design, so it was a real challenge, but I brute forced my way through it all, and the end result is decent, I guess. The first level was 90% done now, so time to move on to some other stuff. 3 days left to do everything else. Like the starting cutscene, the one with the depressed Connie being called to save Dreams. It took some time to find a workflow that worked for me, but once I got going, things fell into place really quickly. I didn't even know if this was gonna be something I liked doing, but I loved it honestly. It was really satisfying to slowly polish the animation and pacing to perfection, while also trying to make it look nice from an art standpoint. I think the end result is pretty nice. So far the entire project was a nice culmination of dumb ideas executed to a dumb degree, right? But I wasn't done yet. I thought about that boss battle for a while and I just couldn't help myself. I had to turn this into a first-person shooter as well. I wanted to take Media Molecule's template gun, this yellow-pink one, and give it the grounded hit feedback and reload animation it deserves. I had to do that process of dismembering Connie again, but now I shoved the limbs into my FPS template. Then I added camera shake, dynamic reticle, hit markers, hit effects, and of course a more punchy version of Media Molecule's gunshot. I put everything in here I could. For the reload animation, I kept the principles in mind that I learned a while back, but it didn't turn out perfect. It serves its goal, right, but it still has a bit of floatiness in it that I could have fixed with more time. More time that I didn't have, because now there were only 2 days left. The last level would take place in the big orange cylinder. The final boss would be Hector from the Art's Dream campaign. I made another cutscene. Here Connie absorbs the dream energy and then gets confronted with Hector at the end. Remember that video I made about enemy AI a couple months back? Well, I used the enemy AI template I made that video to quickly make the final boss. It literally only took me like 3 hours or something, with a lot of the time just being spent reverse engineering the puppet in order to be able to animate it well. Hector has only 2 attacks in the end. Projectiles he shoots from his hand, and a special move where he flies up, takes off his hat, and sends a bunch of homing tickets your way. Beautiful. I was gonna need another cutscene though, once you defeated him. I went all out with this one. Many camera angles, a lot of animation, and a lot of required polish. By the time the cutscene was done, I had 1 day to do all the remaining stuff. And the remaining stuff is more than you might think. The last bit of game development is for me always linking everything together, putting checkpoints in place, making a main menu screen, etc. I hadn't even added music yet, so I quickly took some Media Molecule music and just threw it in there. The worst part of making any game to me is always making the tutorial. I just hate that. I just quickly made a straight corridor with some obstacles and floating text, and I was really not gonna do anything more than that. Because this started to become a race against the clock real quick. The final thing I needed to do is create the ending level of the game. It's not really a level, just you as third-person Connie walking off into the sunset on Dreamiverse Dash cubes. My message with the game is essentially that I want to thank Media Molecule for their work on Dreams, but also that Dreams isn't over yet and we still have some stuff to make, so I put some of that text in place. The last thing I did, literally only an hour before the deadline, is a couple lines of voice acting for when Connie is called at the beginning of the game. I wasn't sure if I was gonna do it, so initially I had some beeps and boops there, but I hope you agree that having voice is better. This is not over yet. The dream can live on. And so I completed and released the final version of Connie, Chasing Dreams. Comfortably, just before the deadline. Will I win the game jam? I don't know, but man did I have fun making this. I said this many times before, but I'm obsessed with games that fire on all cylinders. Gameplay, story, music, spectacle, everything. Making a game like that by yourself is nigh impossible. But that doesn't stop me from, well, chasing that dream, right? And with this game, dumb, stupid and simple as it is, I feel like I got closer to that goal than ever. It is a cohesive package that has polish pretty equally spread over all its disciplines. A good 5 days spent, I'd say. If you have dreams, well, you can play it right now. I'll leave a link in the description below. If you don't want to play it, or are too lazy to, or don't have the game, well, I'll just put some gameplay at the back of this video. You're very welcome. If you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel, well, of course, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you around, hopefully.
I sympathize with your simple mission.